Hello fellow Webflowers, welcome to the fourth part of this multi-step tutorial where we are going to build this website with Webflow. In this part we are going to build the hero. If that's the first video you are watching, click on the link at the top to get to the playlist and start with the first video. So without further ado, let's jump on my screen and start building. So at first, let's have a look at the design and see what's happening here, what's supposed to happen. So we have this hero section. We have a headline that is split over two lines. We have a button here and we have a subline. We have a little illustration here. And once the user scrolls, this blue background should be sticky and get smaller. And while the user is scrolling, this dashboard should appear. And this dashboard will be a Lottie file, so it will also be animated on scroll. So back to Webflow, we have here the standard setup for our hero section. We have this section with the class of hero. We have a hero content div, and we have a hero wrap div, and a hero BG. That I already prepared, and let's start with this hero BG because in this element we will have the background and the Lottie animation. Okay, let's start with the hero wrap class. This will be kind of our container, so most of it will match the container column 12 class, but not exactly. We will see the difference pretty soon. So at first we give it a display flex, and vertical direction is fine, as well as this one's. For the padding we need 3em on both sides. We can give it auto margin here to center it in the width, to center it on the page, and we'll give it a width of 100% and a height of 130 viewport height, but also a max width of 1600 pixel, so it matches the maximum width of our container. Furthermore, it will have position relative, and that's it for that class. So the next thing will be the hero BG. That's the, let's have a look at the design. That's that blue background. So back to Webflow, we have our div with the class hero BG. At first we give it a background color. We give it our light blue. And next is that we give it a width of 100% and a height of 100 viewport, 80 viewport height, and also a max width of, or at least, actually we don't need a max width, a min height. Let's give it a min height of 560 pixels. And of course, we also need a border radius. Let's choose a border radius of 2em. And it needs to be sticky. Let's make it sticky and give it here a top value of 7.5 em. And we also need padding stuff. Let's start with the top. 1.5 em should be enough. At top and bottom. Okay, that's fine. So next thing we are going to need is we are going to integrate here is the Lottie file. And I've already uploaded the Lottie file. Yep, it should be this Lottie file here. Yeah, let's use the built-in duration. That should be fine for now. And let's give it a class of hero dashboard. And I give it a width of 75%. And we already have a opacity value set here, but let's delete it for now so we can see it. So if I go to preview mode, you can see the Lottie file is already playing. It's not set to the center yet, so I have to make some more changes to the hero BG. It needs to be flexbox and like this actually. So now you can see it's in the center, but it should appear once the user is scrolling. So for now, I'm turning down the opacity again to 0, so it's not in our way. Next step is that we are going to add the content on the hero here in this hero content div, like the copy and the button here. So at first we have to change the settings of the hero. The hero needs to be display flex, vertical is fine, align center also, and we have to give it a position relative and a Z index of 1 because we want the hero content to be positioned absolute, and so it fits in place. We need to put the parent, so the hero, on position relative. So back to the hero content. Let's change its position to absolute and also give it a Z index of 1. And within there, we will add a grid. We will call this hero grid. You can see I already prepared a bunch of columns and rows here. So in total, we have 12 columns and we have 3 rows. And you will see soon why I did that. Furthermore, let's go to the settings of the hero and let's give it a width of 100% and a max width of 1312 pixels. Okay, fine. And also, yeah, the alignment is fine. And let's add some content to the grid. We need some grid areas in this case. Let's add a div and call this hero heading wrap. And yeah, the first one, we can give a manual placement of, it should start in column 3 and end in column 10. And it should remain in the first row. That's fine. Let me check why this grid gets so small. Yeah, it's because we need to give it a width of 100%, and it is positioned absolute. So now you can see it's covering the entire viewport width. We need to give it also a max width, the same like our container. So 1600 pixels. And as you remember, we had the same here on the nav wrap. This has a padding of 3 EM. So if we would give the hero content now also a padding of 3 EM, you would see that its content will probably, yeah, it would end at the size, at the border of this blue background box, and we don't want that. We want some padding. So I choose 8 EM here. And yeah, that's it. So back to our grid. Here we have our first heading wrap. And in here, let's add some text. Let's use just a text block. We give it a class is display and you want to have this color. Let's have a look at the text. Okay, it's get paid up front. So it's like get paid. So this is our first line. We copy this one. So we have here the second line, and this should start and end in row 2, and get paid up front. Looks fine for me. And then we also have here a button and this subline. So let's add a wrapper for the button. Take another div and let's call it hero. Here we have it, hero button wrap. We have to position it manually. It should definitely start in row 2 and probably in column 8 until column 11. I'm going to add the button later because it's a little bit more complex to build this button. And now let's add another wrapper for the subline. Hero content wrap. Oops, not hero content. Hero content wrap. Here we go. And this should start in row 3 and probably in row 7, in column 7, and end in column 12. Okay, fine. Yeah, this is already set to display flex direction vertical, align left, and or it's called align start, and justify, what's that called actually? Space between. Okay. Let's add a paragraph in here, give it a class txt, or just type large, txt large, and I'm just going to copy the text. Yeah, currently you can see this text is black because that's standard on the body. Most of the times in this case, you could add a combo class here. Let's just like white is txt white. Okay, that's fine. But now we have a combo class here. Me personally, I prefer to go to the parent and define a color here. So let's go here to the color and give it here the white. So this one, now it's white. Okay, let's start with the button. For the button, I've prepared something in Figma because yeah, the animation is a little bit tricky. So yeah, you can see here's the button and here's what I've prepared. So actually the button, so the button wrapper, it will be overflow hidden, and it will have a border radius. So if I turn off clip content here, you will see that this SVG of this half moon actually is yeah, it has corners here. And let's turn it on again. And next to it, we will have a rectangle. And we will start with this rectangle having a width of 0 pixels. Figma doesn't allow 0, so it's always turning back to 1. But yeah, and on hover, we will increase this width to probably 100%. And while it's increasing, you can see what is happening. So this is the animation we want. And because of the overflow hidden of the parent, you will see it will be hidden like this. And then you will see this usual button form. So back to Webflow, I've prepared the standard setup for the button. You can see we have a link block here with the class btn. Then we have the text in here. That's just a text block. Then we have another div, and this is the parent of the div that will be animated, the width from 0 to 100. And we have an embed here for the SVG code. So let's start with the SVG code. If you don't know how to work with SVG code like this, I've copied this one from here. So you have exactly this one. You can copy here like an SVG, get back to Webflow, paste it here. And we have to do some extra settings here because I can show you what's happening. You can see now that actually, yeah, let's place that at first a little bit. I'm going to use this one and this one to center it. Looks a little bit better. And let's give it a little bottom margin. Let's try 1 EM and see what happens. Yeah, next thing is that I'm going to go to this button. We can leave it on display block, but because it will preserve the width of the button, and so it doesn't get stretched to the 100% of the container or stuff like this, we will leave it on display inline block. That's fine. But we will give it position relative. And for the border radius, we will need overflow hidden and of course the radius itself. Let's try 50 pixels. Woohoo, looks fine so far. Next thing is that we go to this BTN BG, that is the parent of the SVG and this bar, and we give this a position absolute and set it to full. Now you can see what's happening here. Next one is that we give this BTN bar a height of 100%, and we have to set display flex, and probably that's fine. Yeah, I think so. Should be all good. Okay, yeah. But let's get back to the button, and we have to add a padding here. I don't know, 0.5 EM maybe on top and bottom. Let's try 8. And now you can see this SVG is doing some strange stuff. And let's just go to my clipboard. Usually you would try to give it here something like 100%, but it doesn't react on it. It's not reacting on it because you have width and height set here and you have a view box set here. But you can override this with some style settings. Something like this here, style height 100% and width auto, and this should work. Yeah, now you can see it works. The SVG has exactly the size we want it to have, and the text is already placed in the center. All we need to do is give the text also a margin. Let's try 3 EM, should work for it. Yeah, looks cool. Okay, fine. And now you can see this SVG that actually looks like this. Looks like the moon because of the overflow hidden and the border radius we gave here. You can see I can change this. Okay, 20 seems to be enough, but let's stay with 50. And what we are going to animate now is this moon bar. We are going to, it also has a background of yellow. What we are going to animate is the height of it. So, not pixels, it's 1%. You can see as soon as I bump up this height until 100%, it's going to move the SVG out of the parent container, and that's actually what we want. You can see the text is now invisible because it's yellow. If I'm going to turn it blue, it's still hidden. It's because we have to give it position relative and a set index of 1. Now it's visible, okay. And in the animation, while this moon bar is bumping up to 100%, we also have to change the position of that. So probably we have to bring it back on 1.5 EM to center it. Yes. So That's the 2 steps we are going to do with the, or actually 3 steps we are going to do with the animation. We are manipulating the width of the moon bar, we are manipulating the position of the text, and we are manipulating the text color. So for now, let's turn this back. Also, let's turn back the color. It should be yellow. And let's turn back the width to 0. So to create the animation, we choose the button itself, and now we create an animation, or actually a trigger, and yeah, it's mouse click or tap, and we can start the animation. And you can see I've already have a couple of animations here, but let's build it new. It's that one. I delete it. BTN yellow in. Let's call it like this. So at first, let's start actually with our moon ball. We choose size, and this is going to be set to initial. And we give it a width of 0%. Percent is important, so 0%. Next is our text. Let's go to the text and choose, it's the text color actually we want to manipulate. Text color. We also make it initial, and let's choose yellow. It should be yellow at the beginning. And the next is actually also the text, but we need a move on that. And yeah, the initial move will be, oh no, on the x-axis 0 EM. Okay, and now we can copy this one. So yeah, let's start with this one, duplicate it, and the width now should be grow to 100%. You can see this is what's happening. Okay, I want some easing on it. I like out expo. Way too fast. Let's try 1.2 seconds. Yeah, that one looks cool. So at the same time, we need to change the text color. We want to start at the same time, so we just drag and drop it on the BTE moon bar. Text color, let's try out quart actually, and let's turn the text color to blue. Yeah, it can be a little bit faster, maybe 0.4. Yeah, looks fine. And the last one is that we are going to move it. We duplicate that as well and drop it here, so it starts at the same time. And we are going to move it by minus 1.5 EM. So it gets pushed to the center. Yeah, let's see how it looks like. Way too slow. Let's take out expo as well and bump up the, or let's try 0.6 actually. Yeah, doesn't look too bad actually. Let's leave it like this for now. Let's save it and let's duplicate it. And let's, I know, not on second click. Yeah, that's true. Also, I did a mistake here. Actually, it shouldn't be on mouse click. That's wrong. It should be on mouse hover, of course. So start animation. Let's choose BTN yellow in. That's what we just did. So on hover, this should happen. And on hover out, we need to start another animation, and we can choose the duplicate here. We can rename it and call it BTN yellow out. And actually, we want to reverse what just was happening. So yeah, I can delete this stuff here. Set the width to 0. Go to the text color and turn it back to yellow and move it back to 0 EM. Let's go to preview mode. Duration looks fine, but I think we need to change a little bit the moment when the text color turns yellow again. In my opinion, everything can happen a little bit faster. Oops. So size, let's try 0.9. Text color, let's try 0.2 and move. The move, let's try 0.4. Yeah. Let's turn down the size to 0.75. Yeah, I think this looks cool now. That's it. So that's the animation for the button. And yeah, let's finish this hero. So one thing I've noticed is that when you go back to Figma, you can see we also have some padding here at the top and at the bottom. Currently, our hero doesn't match that. You can see the text is here on the top. And if I go to the hero BG, you can see that we gave this one a height of 80 viewport height. And or actually the hero wrap, sorry, we give it here a height of 130 viewport height, and the hero BG a height of 80 viewport height. So actually we have to do the same to the hero content, so it matches. So let's give it a height of 80 viewport height, and yeah, that should move it to the middle. So this is fixed. Another thing you can see in the design, we have this coins here. So let's go to the actually to the hero content. It's already position absolute. Okay, that's fine. So let's add a div and call this hero. It's actually a German word, Taler. It means coins. Taler wrap. And you can see it's already set to overflow hidden, position absolute, and it's currently missing some content. So yeah, we need to add that one. I have to add an image. Search for my image here. Here we have the Talers. Let's give it a class of hero Taler as well. Only thing is here is position relative and set to auto. Probably that's all actually not necessary. You can get rid of that. So actually no CSS settings here, but obviously on the parent that's set to overflow hidden because I want to animate it later. And position absolute, so we can position it here. And I eyeballed these values here to 5.7 minus 4.5. So it's placed at this position. So next step is that we are going to make this hero content responsive. So let's see how it looks like on tablet view. You can see we run into a little bit of trouble here, so we need to replace the button. Let's choose the button wrap, and now let's move it. Okay, oops, I can't move it like that. So I have to do it old school. Let's move it to row 3.3, and let's start it at column 1 and maybe end it at column 3, or let's choose column 4 actually, and let's choose justify start. Okay, looks cool. Let's also change this a little bit. It can start at row 6 probably. Yeah, can look like this. Looks fine. Let's see how it looks on portrait. I think we have to make some changes here. First of all, let's move the button down. Let's move it to row 4. And let's choose this one, and let's move it to, I don't know, maybe 2. Yeah, and let's end it at, actually it looks fine. Yeah, but let's also move the bottom again. Let's move it to 2 till 5, like this. Okay, looks cool. Let's see how it looks on mobile. Actually, looks fine. Oh, except for the button. This one is broken here. Let's move it like here. Yeah. Yeah. Let's also check this hero Thaler. I guess there will be some changes in the, yeah, you can see I didn't delete the settings before, so magically everything moves into place. You can see here I've made changes to this one. If I go back here, it's 5.7, and here it's 4, as well as this value is changed, but this is the only place where I've changed these values. Let's also check the container margins and width. You can see here I have 8 EM, and here I have 6 EM, and here I have 3 EM, and also top and bottom 5 EM, but the height stays the same. It is 80 viewport height, as well as the hero wrap. It stays on 130, but you can see here I've made some changes with the padding. It's 5 viewport width. It's the same change that happens to our global container class. So we should have a global container class somewhere here. Yeah, we have a container class here. It also switches to 5 viewport width. It's just so the size of this blue box always matches the width of the container. I can see this makes trouble here. So let's turn this to 12 so it always works. Okay. So some minor changes here, but I'm sure you will figure them out. And actually that's it in turning this hero responsive. Now let's move on to the scroll animation. So for the scroll animation, we need to choose the hero wrap, because that's where we want the animation to happen actually. Let's switch to the interactions tab, and you can see there's already, I can delete that. We need a while scrolling in view, and we will need a different animation for desktop and tablet. So let's take tablet and landscape and portrait off here, and let's play a scroll animation. We can leave all this to the default settings right now, and let's call it sticky hero, oops, down, like this. So, and here we need to do some settings now. So the first thing we want to animate is our sticky background. This one was set to sticky, and we want to animate the size of it. So let's choose size, at the beginning, it will have a width of 100% and a height of 80 viewport height. That's actually the standard SVG set, the standard CSS setting that we have, and we wanted to start at the keyframe of 40%. It should not start at the beginning, and it should end at the keyframe of 70%. Yeah, we get this little warning here because I didn't set anything here. So let's choose 60% and 55 viewport height. So you can see if I turn on preview mode and I scroll here, you can see what is happening. It starts to shrink. So next thing that we need to animate is actually the dashboard. So this one, the dashboard, we just need to animate the opacity, and we need to play the Lottie file. So first thing, let's do the opacity. It actually should. Let's start it here a little bit later. So at the beginning, the opacity will be 0. And at the end, the opacity will be 100%. Maybe something like this here. So if I turn on preview mode, you can see it still looks pretty broken. But we can fix that just by adding another section. Give this the class spacer, and give this a width of 100%, and yeah, something like 100 viewport height. So we are just simulating that there will be content after the hero, and if you turn it on right now, you can see it works. So let's move on with the animation. So we have here now, so we've set the size of the hero background. It is animated. We will also animate the opacity of the dashboard. And now let's also play the Lottie file of the dashboard. Actually, choose Lottie, and yeah, it can also start at 41%. Let's duplicate it and move it to, actually this should run pretty long, something like this here. Yeah, and we can start at 0 and we can end at 100%. Let's see how it looks like. Yeah, looks pretty cool. We can probably tweak it a little bit later. It starts a little bit early, so let's duplicate that and move it somewhere here. I want to manipulate the speed a little bit, so let's choose something like 40 or something like that. It's better now. Not 100% yet, but let's get everything in here and then we will fine tune it. So next thing is that we are work on this Thaler. We will use an opacity and a filter for that. So let's work with the opacity at first. This one can start here as well. And at first the opacity will be 100%, and let's duplicate it. And let's move it to, oops, something like this here, and now it will be 0. Let's add a filter here, because I also want to use a blur filter on it. So at the beginning it should be 0. We duplicate it, and here it can be something like 20 probably. Let's try it out. No, not yet 100%. Oops, something like 40. Yeah, much better now. You can see here's this corners. It actually doesn't look that good with that corner. So let's go back to the CSS of this one, and let's, it actually has a, it's the wrong one. Let's turn off the overflow hidden. Yeah, it looks better like that. We don't need an overflow hidden on this one. At least not for now. Yeah, let's go back to the animation. So we have set up the Thaler, we have set up the Lottie dashboard, we have set up the, I think everything is in place now. What we need to do now is actually fine-tune it. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to optimize the animation a little bit, and yeah, you can see I've changed this animation from Hero Thaler to its parent, because then I don't get these edges here anymore. It looks much smoother. And actually, I think that was enough already. I also changed this to 37 instead of 71. 73 instead of 71, and yeah, I think that's enough. The animation should also, we probably need another animation for tablet downwards, because yeah, stuff is a little bit different here. I will do this now, and yeah, in fast forward, because actually it's the same. It will be just a little bit different in the animation timeline. Okay, so let's start. Actually, it was just minor things I had to change. So what I did is I copied. The first thing I did, I set up a second trigger here. This one is the first one for desktop, and this one is the one for tablet and downwards. So it's also while scrolling in view. Then I duplicated the initial animation and I renamed it D for desktop, T for tablet, and put the trigger on tablet, phone, and landscape, and the desktop one is only here on desktop and above. So we have two separate animations. But the changes within the animation are actually just minor changes. It's just a hero background that I've changed. So initially it starts with 100% width and 80% viewport height. And now it is 90% and shrinks down to 90% width and 40% viewport height. Before it was, I think it was 60 and 80. So that's actually all I did. And you can see the difference between the animation. So this is like the 60% of the viewport width. And from here on, you can see it doesn't shrink that much. It just gets down to 90 because otherwise this dashboard would get very tiny, especially here on mobile. So that's all I changed, and now the scroll animation is ready or done. So the last thing that we need for the hero is a page load animation. As you can see on the final result, we have here a text animation going on. And for this, I've prepared a code sandbox. And actually the animation is based on GreenSock because we will be reusing it on the page. I have a couple of scripts that I have to paste here. The first one is split type. This one actually just will put a span around each character, so each character can be manipulated separately with the animation. The second one is a GreenSock itself, and the third one is a GreenSock plugin called Scroll Trigger. And this one is my jQuery file coming from Code Sandbox. In the Code Sandbox, you can see this code here. This actually comes, I copied it from Timothy Riggs. He has a very nice YouTube video about text stagger effects. I will link it in the description below if you want to learn more about it. I will not go into detail of this code now because all we need is just to add this scripts, and of course we should save it, and then we need to add some custom attributes here. It's actually two that we need to add. The first one is for the text split plugin, so each letter gets wrapped with a span. And the second one is to trigger the right animation. So that's that one. And we need to apply this to all text elements here. And refresh the page. You can see that the text is sliding up. Nice. So that's it for the hero actually. To wrap up what we've done in this video, we've created that hero. We made all the animations for it with Webflow animations. And we also did a custom text animation with GreenSock. And in the next video, we will also add the marquee effect that will run under the hero. So if you scroll here, that will run here under the hero. So we have some additional nice effect here. So stay tuned and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed yet, not to miss any of the following videos. Thank you and bye-bye.